Hey everyone, welcome to the Align Your Life show. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Jenny Parks. I'm a health and prosperity professional, integrative nutrition coach, and wellness advocate. The Align Your Life show is all about empowering people towards living a life of enrichment. My guest today is my amazing friend Julia Curry.
Hello.
Hello. She's been here before a couple of times, so you've probably seen her. Julia is an eating psychology coach and speaker. And today what came to mind for me to discuss with Julia, because she's just a wealth of wisdom and information and just amazing to work with. So you should absolutely check her out, and she'll let you know how you can get in touch with her as we go through the show. But body image, that's a big thing for so many people. And I don't know why it's been on my radar lately. I saw a Facebook post the other day. Somebody posted some type of a commercial or something that had to do with body image with women specifically, although it does affect men as well, as I'm sure you see a lot too. One of the things that I was looking at your Facebook post today, I mentioned, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you mentioned sometimes we see our bodies as an obstacle, and what do we do with obstacles? And that's really what a lot of people fight with when it comes to body image, is that they see their self as this big obstacle. And the problem with that is that everywhere we go, there we are. Right. So we can't get away from ourselves, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, it's like I said in the post, when we're looking at it as an obstacle, we look at obstacles as problems. Yeah. Something that has to be, powered through, overcome.
Wrestled to the ground.
Wrestled to the ground, and sometimes even, punished.
Yeah.
And so, when we're in that paradigm, the body can easily be abused, or our self-concept can easily be diminished from the frame of mind.
As an eating psychology coach, I know you don't deal just with body image, but that is a component of what you do assist people with. How does that relate to just what you do in your work with the eating and food and body image and things like that? How do you see that all coming together for people?
Well, yeah, we're absolutely so connected. Mm-hmm. I mean, everything's connected. And, I think with the body image piece is connected to the food, because oftentimes when we have I often call it self-attack, just a way that we're sort of attacking ourselves. We don't even realize it. We're so close to it, but it's going on all the time. Then a lot of time, especially more sensitive people, we feel that attack deeply. We take it personally. We take our own judgments personally, and that causes pain, right? So a lot of times, what do we do to offset pain? A lot of people, it's the easiest thing to do. Eat.
Right.
And we don't even realize the cycle that's going on within us. We think it's all outside circumstances, or what my kids are doing, or how stressful my job is.
Making that connection.
Right, right. So a lot of what I work with is helping people see how, and that's the good news, because if you can create a new landscape within how you view yourself, how you relate with yourself, your being, your life, it changes your food naturally. It changes how you show up to the table naturally.
Absolutely, kind of like a domino effect.
Exactly.
And I know that there are people out there who actually have positive body images. So I don't want to paint the picture that everybody has a poor body image, but I know for me personally, that has been my story for most of my life, and I think you can relate to that too.
Absolutely.
And it's really what has led you to do the work that you're doing today. What does that look like for you? How has that played out in your life and led you to what you're doing?
Well, I think, we can all relate to the sense of perfectionism that starts, we know now, that it starts very young with boys and girls. So,
especially today. Inundated with images everywhere.
Absolutely. And I was just talking with a gal today who she pointed out, when she goes to another country or another culture, how they think, bigger women are just gorgeous and stunning, and they actually see that as a sign of prosperity and everything. So what that helps you to realize is how it's conditioning. It is simply conditioning. And from that conditioning, it creates beliefs, attitudes, habits, all those kind of things. So, if we can really be more conscious of what we've really taken on from our culture, and back to, what I took on was, I've got to be perfect.
Right.
And to me, that's thin, that's pretty, that's, whatever we make
the story that each of us are telling ourselves.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I did all the every diet under the sun. I did the punishing exercising even to the point of injury. The binging, purging. I did lighter. I wasn't like totally steeped in that, but I dabbled in all of that, which is where a lot of people, But the biggest thing, and this is what people often talk about, is that it's just always on my mind.
Yes.
And it just consumes so much of my energy. And I think that's where, that even people feel ashamed sometimes even about that.
Absolutely.
That it takes up so much of my life, and then they feel selfish, or they feel, self-absorbed and all of this.
In vain.
Yes, absolutely. So it's a no-win situation if we're looking at it that way, right?
Yeah.
So, and just changing around our food is not going to address that.
Right.
And that's, why I've said many times, we can look at food, and that is an important piece, but who we are as eaters, our thoughts, our beliefs, our spirituality, our career, all those aspects affect our metabolism more than anything we put in our mouth.
That's such a great point because, let's say that you are someone who has some kind of a health goal, and we'll just throw weight loss out there because that seems to be the predominant goal for most people, and you reach that goal, but that doesn't undo the conditioning.
Right.
That doesn't undo what led you to maybe being a little bit more unhealthy. So fixing the outside isn't the answer necessarily.
Until we lose the weight of our thinking, our beliefs, and all those things, the weight that holds on will often stick around until we get the message. And that's where that kind of also shifts to where we can look at it in a way where it's not so negative either, to have what I don't even call it fat, I call it stored potential energy. Because really, fat is the label we've said in our culture. And what do we associate with that? We make it negative, we make it toxic, we make it bad. But if failure. But really and truly, scientifically, it is stored potential energy.
Truly, that's what it is. Yeah.
That's it. So we can take that huge story off now. Why is that energy hanging on? Well, that's the great question, and that's what we do in our work. Because once other things are resolved, the energy doesn't need to necessarily hang out in the same place. It can move. It can move to the expression that it needs to. It can free you up for other, creative endeavors. But we look at it from a very positive standpoint, that it's a messenger. It's there for a reason until the lesson is learned and integrated, and then it shifts. We call it shape-shifting. And this all can be a very natural, beautiful process that has nothing to do with white knuckling things, punishment, have to exercise, none of that. That will be, your body will inform you along the way what works for you.
Yeah, that's so many great points. So many things swirling around in my head.
20 points.
Can we just rewind that for a minute? What did you call it? Stored energy potential?
Stored potential energy.
Stored potential energy.
Yes.
So I love that because it's the perception, it's the wording. Call it semantics, but it's not. It is truly conditioning, and it is what you're feeding yourself with your words. Your words are so powerful. I say that all the time. It's something that I've learned, thankfully, over the last couple of years, how powerful the words that I speak are, not just outwardly, but inwardly, especially. Because it does help to facilitate, shape, and grow and expand us. And it's either going to do it on the avenue of what we're fighting, the obstacle that we're wrestling to the ground, or it's going to lead us down that path of moving beyond that and becoming something much, not becoming, but stepping into the much bigger space that we are here to occupy. Stepping into space, another thing, the stored potential energy can sort of give us a reason to hook into of why we can't do a lot of things. So in that turnaround way, in a way, it's also they're keeping us safe, because change feels scary. Absolutely.
Stepping into our most authentic expression feels scary, right?
We don't even know what that is.
Absolutely. So there's just a lot of positive intentions that are there, and when it comes to and why it even is around the midsection for a lot of us, there's reason for that as well. That's a very vulnerable place in our bodies, and I could go, that's a whole nother talk, but it's just going to say that there's a wisdom in it. And so, it's funny how when I'm working with clients, they'll they catch themselves, they start to reframe when they start to say, if I feel fat, or they'll say, I have stored potential energy that is, it might be energy for creation, it might be energy for love, it might be energy for that next career move I'm about to make. You know what I mean? And seeing it in that light, it's really powerful.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk about, for the people that are watching that are like, okay, yeah, that makes all sense. That makes a lot of sense. That's great and all, but how in the hell do I start to undo, where I'm at right now? Because it can be a really deep and dark place. So So when we come back, we'll talk about that. Be right back.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage. Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
You're there.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Align Your Life show. Here with eating psychology coach Julia Curry. We're talking about body image, and before the break I was talking about for the person that's watching that is in that place of, just darkness really when it comes to how they're feeling about themselves or the challenges that they're maybe have always been fighting or feel like they've always been fighting in their life. How do you even begin? And maybe it's more of a why do I question than a how. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this may sound pretty obvious, but I think I can only speak from my experience. Is, one thing that I needed was support. Because I think because it is such a place of isolation for people, it's really hard to step out of shame when you're in hiding.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Because you're not even really, a lot of people aren't even talking to their best friend about this. They're going about their life, they're painting the picture of, oh, I'm great, I'm happy, everything's well.
Yes.
But deep down inside, it's not so much. Every day they're fighting in their, with themselves in the closet, and not looking at themselves in the mirror. Binge, purge, not eating, whatever, not eating the best foods, trying to, but failing
Or it
again.
can be, I ate this and freaking out about how many calories are in it. I need to go weigh myself.
Counting every calorie, yes.
So,
Exercising too much.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done all of the above.
Me too.
But I remember, they call it, I remember at one point I actually went to a 12-step program. Now, that works with food and does it, and that's a whole nother story. But one thing I did, realize is that those kind of behaviors are, they call it like a disease of isolation. So it's really more about the fact that we are isolating ourselves, because it's kind of like what Brene Brown said about, vulnerability is shame repellent. So it's like being able to speak to trusted friends, to others, to get a coach, to get therapy, whatever it takes. I think one of the first things is to say, it's okay for me to need support.
And explore your options.
And explore your options.
You don't know how that's going to unwind for you until you kind of sift through all the resources out there available.
Absolutely. And if you're ready to do, that there's different people are at different points of readiness. So, some people say, okay, I'm just going to see a nutritionist and work on that first and see where I go with that. That's okay. Start there, see if that helps. And if you still find that you're still doing, the underground things with food, then you may need to dig a little deeper, go and just see what's going on. And like I said, whether that's therapy or eating psychology or working with you, you're more mind, body, spirit as well, and you get a lot of those. You get the whole picture. It's just trying different things, saying I am not going to be isolated anymore, and also, reframing the whole struggle that what if where you are is where you're supposed to be right now. You have no idea the possibilities of what this is going to teach you. And that's the thing that's unbelievable. I go back and I say 100% I'm glad I went through all that.
Yeah.
I know, easy to say, but I mean it with every cell in my being.
Chills, actually.
Yeah, because that, it's that whole saying of what's in the way is the way. It became the doorway. for transformation, for healing, and for growth in ways I never imagined possible. But I can't say I couldn't have done it alone.
Yeah, and I mean, the possibilities are unlimited, but it's so true. A lot of what we go through in our life, the challenges that we face, are shaping us for something bigger than what we can even imagine. And it doesn't mean you're going to become an eating psychology coach or a nutrition. It doesn't mean that.
Right.
But it's prepping the way for you for a reason.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
And it's never too late. That's the thing too.
Absolutely.
A lot of times people feel like, oh, I wasted my whole life on this.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? You have contribution to this world. You have so much to do. And a lot of times people will say, they'll hide out and say, for instance, I can't do this because I'm overweight. I can't go show up and volunteer, or I can't get that beautiful dress, or I can't have intimacy in a relationship, you know? And so part of, if you can just picture that, imagine if part of the healing is stepping into those things, not postponing them, learning to step into that now, but that takes support. And it changes everything, because then as time goes on, and again, the energy is moving, it just takes care of itself. It absolutely does. And life opens up. You get your life energy back. You get your zest back, so to speak, right? And then purpose comes from that, you know. Desire, longings, all dreaming, all those things start to sort of alchemize again. And that is so different than a quick fix diet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're right, that can't alone do much except change around what you eat. And some people need that.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely. Sometimes that's a good starting point. You know,
Absolutely.
It gains some momentum to propel you in the right direction. But, you know, when you were saying, I can't this, I can't that, I can't that, sometimes I think the starting point is just, like you said, reframing. I can. Even if you don't believe it now, you know, just say it to yourself. You know, try to catch yourself when you're having those thoughts. Because I think that is so powerful for so many reasons, around so many different things, not just body image, but, you know, so many things that we talk to ourselves about inside of our head that no one else hears, that we would never say to another human being, yet we'll say to ourselves.
Absolutely. And that goes to kind of to the point of, you know, where a place to start. And a place to start is, you know, saying I am done waging war on myself. I am done breaking my own heart. You know, even if just to proclaim that, and you may say, okay, I don't know where to go from there, but like the retreat that I just hosted in a couple months ago.
What was that called?
The Sacred Nourishment Retreat.
It's coming up again.
Again, the end of September, last weekend, we have 10 spots available. But it was a profound time of transformation as we gathered together and women, you know, shared their stories, and we talked about, went in deeper to all of this. But what we keep seeing is that, you know, love and compassion heals. And we can so easily, as women especially, give that to other people, but we have no idea of the war we are waging on ourselves on a daily basis. And that greatly impacts how we eat. That greatly impacts compulsive behavior.
And how we show up in the world.
Oh, absolutely. How we show up in our careers, in our family life. And, you know, and then we think, oh, I just got to take care of everybody else, and we're over here wilting, you know? So that's why we talk a lot about nourishment, but it's where you realize it is not a luxury. It is an absolute necessity. I mean, it just makes sense, right? The more that we're lit up, tuned in, turned on to life and everything, that's going to have a ripple effect out and affect everybody, all of our relationships and everything we touch.
Absolutely. So when you're working with people, it's one-on-one, and you also have some group gatherings and retreats and things like that too?
Yes.
And didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
but
go ahead.
the one-on-one stuff, in case people are curious, is that, you know, this many sessions and I'm cured, or is it individual days? How does that work?
So with my No Longer Hiding program, that I usually work with people minimal 6 months, and the reason being is we're forging a relationship, we're getting to know each other. I think of it visually as we're like stepping into a container together of healing and transformation, and so it is not going to be a quick fix. It is going to be a beautiful discovery and exploration of what is actually asking and you know, to be healed. And it's going to also be fun and playful, because that's a huge piece too. A lot of the issue for people is they just don't even know how to have fun and lighten up anymore.
Right.
And so food becomes the bookmark or the placeholder for the play and the exploration and the fun and the joy that they're craving. You know, there's so many different things. So that, a lot of times by the time we work together for 6 months, you know, we kind of do a review together, and most of the time people want to continue on because they see, you know, this stuff's real. Like there's real transformation happening. So that to me is the best way to honor your own process, and it kind of gives you that spacious feeling, like I don't have to worry about in the next 2 months getting things figured out. Like it just gives you this nice spacious container. So that's how I do the one-on-one work typically. Sometimes I do 3 months and then we can review, but typically people do 6 months to even a year of work.
And it looks different from everyone, from start to finish. You don't meet everyone at the same beginning point. And the reason I bring that up is because as you were talking, I love your dialogue and I love the words that you use and the way that you describe things, and her writing is amazing too.
Thank you.
But you paint such beautiful pictures, and it just took me back to a couple of years ago when I went on, when I went on a leadership retreat. It was out in the middle of nowhere. It was a women's retreat, and I was not into that. I was like, I want nothing to do with that. I don't want to be with a group of women. I don't want to be getting all sappy and talking about things from our like, what? I'm not doing that. I had to go because the company just signed me up and said, you're going. And it ended up being a pretty amazing couple of days. And not because I went there and, opened myself up enough to like cry and be vulnerable and stuff, but just because I got to witness. I got to just sit back and observe. And so I guess my point is just that, sometimes you're just, I know in the work that you do, you are meeting people where they are. So when they're coming in like I was to that with their arms crossed, then that's where we start. It's not pulling you into a place that's going to make you so uncomfortable that, you're going to go running away.
Right.
So open yourself up to just a conversation, if nothing else.
Yes, and that's why I always
my story, right?
Yeah, no, I love that. I always love that story that you tell. Absolutely. Do we need to?
Yeah, we need to take a break actually, so we'll be right back.
I was just going to go on.
at your leisure.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Julia Curry talking about body image. Julia is an eating psychology coach and speaker and does a lot of one-on-one work with people who are facing not just body image issues, but issues with food and many other things. Before the break, but I was just talking about how, you're meeting people where they are. So many different things that have transpired and opened up in my life that never would have, I know, had I not gone.
Yes.
And so I was glad that I was forced to go and didn't have to make the decision, because my decision was I wasn't going. So anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the thing is, you're right, everybody comes in with a different situation. It could be that you just feel like you are too concerned about food all the time. It could be somebody that feels like they have a compulsive tendency to eat, at night when everybody goes to sleep, and it could be, it could be somebody who just wants to feel like they have more freedom, out of those or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So they want to know, hey, what's that about? What, or some people may want to be able to step, I want to do something in a more public role. Keeps getting in.
To have that.
Yes.
You have events coming up soon. You have another nourishment retreat, correct?
Yes. So the Sacred Nourishment Retreat takes place in downtown Indianapolis at a beautiful retreat center, and we gather about 8 to 10 women, and it's just a wonderful time. And we even have a chef that comes and cooks us a delicious meal.
Awesome.
Yeah. So there's so much that comes from that. I do half days with people, like a one-time half day. I do one-on-one work, and I'm going to be starting groups soon. So if anybody wants to find out more about that, they can just email me.
Questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can also find me on my website at juliacurry.com. And I'm on Facebook. I write a lot. I try to write, inspirational posts surrounding all of this. So that's a great way to find me too. And just
Any speaking engagements coming up?
I do have a couple speaking engagements going up. Of course I don't know the dates, so I will keep you posted. But also on my website, I encourage you to sign up for my newsletter because that will always keep you posted on the next things going on.
Awesome.
So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I want to mention a couple of events coming up. We have like 2 minutes left. Why am I rushing this? Is there anything else what else do we talk about?
I think
I felt like there was something more you said, though.
Well, I think what's important, and it kind of goes back to the post, it's not really about our body. It's not really about our weight. It's really about what we think it represents.
Yes.
It's about what we think that it says about us. That's where the pain is. So, if we think it says, I'm not spiritual enough, I'm too sensitive, I'm weak, I'm a great place to start too, just to tap in. What do I really believe that this is saying about me? Because I'll see so many women that say, you know what, I feel like it feels so vulnerable to have weight on my body because it feels like people can just see excess potential energy, that it's saying something about them, that other people can just kind of hide. So
Another story and open up door after door after door after door.
we know how much love and compassion.
Events coming up, April 2nd and 3rd. Good Journeys here in Noblesville is having their Health and Psychic Fair at the Noblesville State Fairgrounds. I'll be there both days, and I'll also be speaking on Sunday at noon, Cleanse Your Body, Cleanse Your Soul. So come by and see us. There'll be a lot of amazing people and vendors there. June 25th, mark your calendars for the Indie Holistic Hub Wellness Fest. That will be another amazing event. It's a one-day event. There'll be a lot of vendors, speakers, fun, just people everywhere. If you're new to holistic health or what that is and you want to meet some practitioners, or you just want to come find out more and get some free stuff, because I know everybody will have a lot of fun free stuff, you can stop by for that too. Check them out at indieholistichub.com. You can find me on Facebook at Jenny Parks, or email me jennyparks@alignyourlifewellness.com. Thanks to Jim Wofford and the Logan Street Signs and Banners for having us here. Thank you, my dear friend, for being here today. And thank you for being here. We'll be back next week. See you then. Bye.